Plataforma de información musical y radio online. Rutas Alternas. Escucha.
Hoy en Rutas Alternas tenemos el gusto de viajar a Canadá para charlar con Sam, que es por supuesto parte del proyecto Sam Roberts Band, quienes están de gira, están presentando música, tienen mucha actividad en su país natal. Y conectamos en esta videollamada. Hola Sam.
Hola.
How are
¿Todo
you?
bien?
Todo bien.
Muy bien, gracias.
Do
¿Qué
you
tal?
speak Spanish?
Sí, poquito, sí.
But do you prefer to do it in Spanish or in English?
Pienso que es mejor en inglés, sí.
Okay, muy bien, Sam. Where are you right now?
Right now I'm in a hotel room in Toronto, and we were just discussing before, I'm from Montreal. That's the city that I was born and raised in, and that's the city that the band is based out of. But we're down here in Toronto getting ready for our first big show back on stage after a long time away. So
I know it's been a weird year and a half, a difficult year and a half for music industry, for musicians, of course, for all over the world. But it's important to return to the concerts, to live concerts, to be in front of an audience. Mm-hmm. It's exciting, right?
Oh man, yeah, it's one of those things where you didn't realize how much it means to you until somebody takes it away, and here we are on the eve of going back to it. And I haven't seen my bandmates this excited in the 25 years. It feels like we're a young band going to play. I don't know if you have it it's called the Battle of the Bands, and every high school would have, you know, all the young bands would come up. I feel like we're going to play the Battle of the Bands tomorrow night.
It's important never lose that feeling, right? To be exciting about every show, every night. I know it's hard when you are on tour and you travel a lot, but you when you go to the stage and play the first song, I think that you have a rush, right?
Oh, for sure. I think we're gonna be like we're shot out of a cannon tomorrow. You know, like we're gonna come out so excited. I think we're gonna have to find a way to calm our energy down a little bit, just so that we can remember how to play all the music. But yeah, it's one of those things again where this has been a very unpredictable time in not just our lives, but everybody, even for the audience. Again, for the audience, this is going to be hopefully a moving experience, but also a strange experience to be back in a crowd again for the first time in a long while, to remember that it's okay to be together, that it's okay to be close to people, that it's okay to sing, that it's okay to celebrate life and music again. So, you know, I think that's where the responsibility of the band comes in, is to sort of deliver that message that we're all slowly back together, and that you don't give up hope, that we're moving towards hopefully a life that feels like the life that we left behind.
Of course. Sam, you are making this tour in Canada, right? You're playing in several cities in Canada.
We're starting in Toronto. We're playing out in Saskatchewan, which is right in the middle of the country. And then we go all the way out to the East Coast towards Halifax. So we're used to it in Canada. Your next show is always like 2 days driving to get to the next place. We have so much space here, but and then later on this year, we're going to actually do a full coast to coast, and hopefully by the end of that, we'll have this sort of the solid ground underneath us that we can maybe start to plan tours. We'd love to come to Mexico. We'd love to play all over the world again, and it'll be a real joy to be able to travel again.
Sam, you have released a few weeks ago your single Ascension. What can you tell us about this song? Do you make it during the pandemic? It was planned to release it before, or what can you tell us about Ascension?
Yeah, we actually put out a record during the pandemic, which we'd been working on for a couple of years. And Ascension was one of those songs where it just felt like it really sort of spoke to the moment. Songs have a weird way sometimes of reflecting the world around you, even if that's not what your intention was as the songwriter. And Ascension was one of those songs. It felt like there was this missing piece of the dialogue between the young generation and the old generation, and I kind of found myself in the middle of the two, and realized that sometimes you have to sort of try a little bit harder to understand how the other person sees the world. and certainly again, having my own children now, I have 3 kids, and starting to see the world through their eyes and realize that the future belongs to them. And it felt like that was just an important thing to say in a song, to sort of acknowledge this conversation that's going on between the older generation who are holding on, and then the younger generation who are waiting for their chance at the future.
Of course, because this dialogue between generations, it's always been hard, but nowadays it's even harder because there are so many young people that are digital natives that understand the world very different than us and our parents or grandparents, and it gets pretty tricky to can understand each other, right?
That's for sure. I mean, again, it's sometimes you find yourself shaking your head and you just don't understand. But I think it's your responsibility, especially for, you know, the older generation, to know that you were in that place too once, that you were in that place where nobody seemed to get what you were saying. They didn't like your music, they didn't like your politics, they didn't like your friends, and now it's our turn to sort of show them that we understand, or maybe that even if we don't understand, that we're listening. And this whole song just became a way of you know, having that conversation.
Because sometimes in music, we are used to our bands, to our songs, and it's a little hard when we get older to understand new music, to get into new music. But it's very exciting to find new bands, new artists, exciting songs. I mean, it's a way of life, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, and I think it's one of those things. It's a strange relationship sometimes, especially as a songwriter, where you don't want to be influenced too much. But you know, it's hard not to be influenced by the Beatles. It's hard not to be influenced by Pink Floyd or the Rolling Stones. But you kind of have to keep your eyes open and your ears open for new things and the new ways that other bands are expressing themselves. And I find that for myself, I have to, you know, again, work hard to make sure that and then you hear something new and you're like, wow, man, that's, you know, I've never thought of that. I've never heard anything like that before. And then it lights a fire under you again. And then you go back into the studio and you feel like all of a sudden, like the dimensions have changed. All of a sudden your view feels like it was like this, and now it's like widened a bit. So yeah, you just got to keep listening.
Of course, because at the end, it's all about human emotions, human connections.
No, that's it. I mean, that's the goal. The art of songwriting is about expressing that while interfering as little as possible between you and the audience, you know. And I mean that in so many different ways. It's from the way the record is produced, the way that it's recorded. You have to find a way to show that raw emotion as unfiltered as possible. And that's something that as a songwriter, it takes a lifetime. Like I still don't, I'm definitely not there yet. I'm not where I want to be yet as a songwriter when it comes to that. There's still a little bit of a barrier, you know, there's still a little bit of a buffer between you and me. And I think the ultimate goal, not just in writing songs, but in life in general, is to sort of remove that, where you just feel like you are like connecting directly with the person across from you.
Absolutely. So, Sam, what will the band do the rest of 2021?
Well, we got to get through tomorrow night is step one. So
okay, I
we
know.
just have to survive
one day at a time, right?
One day at a time, and it's never felt more true as a saying. You know, one day at a time. Right now, it's like, let's just play our show Thursday night, and if it goes well, we're going to move on to the next one, and we'll go from there. But obviously, we're going to be performing, and hopefully everybody stays healthy and well, and it keeps moving in the right direction. But it's also time to start thinking about getting back in the studio and recording new music.
And do you have any plans to come to Mexico, maybe in 2022?
If it were up to me, I would be in Mexico every second week. So you know, you don't have to convince me very hard to get down there. We would love, you know, one of the crazy things is that we live relatively close and we've never played there. And to be honest with you, you know, it's something that I would really like to change as soon as possible. And I know that there's huge music fans. We have friends of ours from Montreal. They're called the Deers, and they played in Mexico, and they would show us these videos of their shows in Mexico City, and we just couldn't believe the passion in the crowds, and we have to get down there. So that's our mission. That's our goal.
You will have a blast when you come to Mexico, and I hope you can make it here to Guadalajara and Monterrey, because as you said, now in Toronto, there are different cities in our countries, but a lot of people want to see live music. There are a lot of venues, a lot of festivals, so it's important for you as a musician, as a band, to get a knowledge of the full country, right?
Absolutely. And I've got to also see the Guadalajara, Mexico City rivalry to see if it really is like Montreal and Toronto, you know? So
yes.
in Montreal and Toronto, that rivalry plays out on the soccer, on the hockey rink. So I'm assuming in Mexico, it takes place on the football field. So
you are so right.
So we'll go to a football game, have a few cervezas, and then play some rock and roll.
It sounds an amazing plan. So you have to come to Mexico. And
I'm already there, man. I'm already there.
Because there's also a very big Mexican community in Montreal, right?
Absolutely, yes. One of my best friends, the Flores family, are from Mexico. So that's how I learned how to speak Spanish when I was growing up. I need to practice a bit. Voy a practicar más antes de venir.
Muy bien.
I'll be ready to go.
Looking forward to see you here in Mexico, Sam, to see you here playing live, and also to listen your next single. Do you plan to release new music in this year or next year?
Absolutely. I mean, Ascension is on an album, and obviously we want everybody to go out and check out all 9 songs on that record as soon as they possibly can. The album's called All of Us. So Ascension is part of a greater story. Okay. And we still very much make albums that way, where the songs are connected. And I feel, you know, obviously this is, as a songwriter, I feel I have strong feelings about it, but there's a storyline that sort of weaves between all the songs. And so, yeah, I just love for people to go out there and discover the music.
Absolutely, because it's part of the most important things about play a vinyl, that you can understand this dialogue in between the songs, the concept of an album, the narrative of an album. I know we can do it too in stream platforms, but it's a ritual to open a vinyl, put it in your turntable, play it loud. I mean, you understand a lot. Watch the art. I mean, there's a lot.
For sure, for sure. And we put a lot of thought into, as you say, which songs go into the next songs and how the whole thing connects, and also sort of what the emotional arc or journey that takes you on is sometimes it's as much a part of the record as the songs themselves. So yeah, call me old-fashioned, but I still love albums.
Me too. So Sam, but in the meantime, we can find your music in all the digital platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, all of them.
It's all there, man.
And so yes.
I was going to say, enjoy the journey.
Amazing. Yes, there's a lot of music of Sam Roberts Band in digital platforms, and I hope you can bring your vinyl when you come to Mexico.
Yeah, I'll put one aside for you.
Amazing. So Sam, looking forward to see you next year here in Mexico, to go to a football game, to rock and roll, and to grab a beer.
You got it, man. I can't wait.
Sam, thank you so much for this chat with Rutas Alternas.
Okay, hasta próxima.
Plataforma de información musical y radio online. Rutas Alternas. Escucha.